I swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. I swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. Yeah.
All right, Nick, so this is what I got for you here. You can only have 2 streaming services as your only sources of media through the television. Only 2.
This is cruel and unusual punishment.
No cable. No, let's check in on the news. Let's turn on DirecTV. None of that. What are you choosing? And it can be from some of the new forthcoming streaming platforms.
Okay.
Your Disney Pluses, your DCs, your HBO Max.
Okay, so if I'm picking, I would probably go with, I have to go with YouTube TV.
Right.
Because with YouTube TV, I have sports and I need that for work.
Yeah.
And then, so that's an easy one. And they give you a lot of Marvel shows, but I think with everything that's coming out, I'm between like Marvel, Disney Plus and DC Universe, I'm probably going to go with DC. I'm sorry, Disney Plus.
I think after what we saw put forth this past weekend, San Diego Comic-Con, I think it has to be Disney Plus if I'm looking for an add-on.
I mean, there's so much coming out. Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a number one for me. The YouTube Live is interesting because you're supposed to get live sports.
Oh, yeah.
Hulu, I've seen on the commercials that they've been promoting recently that they're going to have live sports to some degree.
I think they already have live sports.
Right, they're supposed to, right? I see like all during the NBA playoffs, right? I kept seeing those commercials with like Giannis.
Yeah, and even what's-her-face, the soccer player.
Yeah, Rapinoe. Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, she was talking. She's sponsored by them now too, or whatever.
So that's an option, but I think I'm really just loving Netflix. Netflix gets me. They have my algorithm. I've been finding a lot of good little nuggets on there recently.
What's that going to look like though in 2 years?
I'm confident that they have a 5-year head start on any of these other streaming services. And then I have to get all the Marvel stuff because from what we'll get into a little bit later on this program, because that's what we're going to be kind of talking about, as well as doing our ultimate fighting game rosters. Does that sound like a nice succinct name for it?
That is, I would say, is correct.
We'll also be breaking down everything that happened at San Diego Comic-Con as well.
We're about to do that in 2 seconds, I would say.
Yeah, I would say we're going to get right into it, of course.
Yeah.
Nick, you look... I would be remiss if I did not bring up your attire. I know this is not good for podcasting, but if you are following along on the live stream, 1420 a.m. WBSM, on their YouTube page, right? I think that sounds about right.
Yes.
You got some. You're kind of doubling down in the genres here. If you would regale me with such.
I have
what you're wearing.
I have my Xavier Institute of Technology shirt, which I normally only wear at the gym. I had to cut off the sleeves because I pitted this out so badly.
Oh, you want to show off the guns?
Well,
too.
yeah, but I only do that when I go probably 1 in the morning workouts. Very rarely.
Okay.
I'm not doing that today because I'm going to blind people who are watching.
You don't have a license for those guns. Is that what you're telling me?
That and I'm very pale underneath.
That's
kind of the bigger issue.
I see.
And then, of course, I have my fighting wraps. I don't even know the correct term for these, but what boxers wear underneath.
Now,
I have a
do
boxer.
You use those?
No, not really.
What are those from, if you don't mind me asking?
I got these back in college when I was trying to do me just being a child, making an impulse buy is pretty much what it came down to.
Okay, yeah.
I have a few of those once in a while. And then the bandana, I've had this, forever.
It looks like it. It looks like it's been through the wash once or twice.
Yeah.
But you are channeling your inner
Ryu.
For
sure.
Because I had you down here as the Ken to my Ryu.
Well, that is.
But some may make the argument that Ken is the better of the two. Maybe has a little bit more personality. Ryu may be a little bit more, straight-laced, boring.
They had a show, right? A Street Fighter show at one point?
I believe so, yeah.
I went back and found a little bit on YouTube somewhere, and oh my God, that is such a bad show. Oh, it was miserable. I couldn't even watch the whole first full episode. And they're both dummies in that show, too, I would say.
Well, they're meatheads at the end of the day. They fight for a living. They get, one too many Hadoukens to the head.
But they know what they're doing.
And that'll do it.
But when you got the Hadouken in your back pocket, you're going to be fine.
So that'll be kind of extending a little bit of on a segment that I think put way too late in the show because I think it's great.
Because we were spitballing about We were talking about Smash, I think it was, because we all, I mean, people of our age all love that game. I think even Tim can kind of fall into that category.
Sure, yeah.
But when it comes to just, I mean, there's so many awesome fighting games. Somehow we came up with this idea. I've been amped for this since we came up with the idea 2 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, yeah, that's right. So, and we'll even have Tim, our guy in the chair,
yes,
who is enjoying a nice icy right now, nice blue icy.
Icy? It's not freeze pop?
Freeze pop? I don't know. What do the kids call it these days?
I think we call it freeze pop, right?
We go to Tim for all the kids' knowledge here.
We put out an engagement post on the Fun 107 page asking what people call these, and there was so many different answers.
Really?
What was the majority?
I think freeze pop was the winner.
Yeah.
Freeze pop. Yeah, I misspoke there. I was out of line.
So many different names for
Shame.
it.
I think icy is not a snow cone, but not a milkshake like that.
But
not
something.
Slurpee, yes.
Yeah,
And icy is the knockoff Slurpee.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
Slurpee.
You used to get them at
That's the word I was
Kmart.
looking for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I tried to like those because they had
It's
the
an
polar
icy
bear.
in a bag? No?
Yeah, it's fine. We can go with that.
Maybe?
You're not totally off base.
Nah.
You're in the right family.
I'll try and regroup here. So much went down on San Diego Comic-Con, right?
Oh, my.
So much so that, like, everyone that was not Disney or Marvel related just kind of pulled out of the event. They're like, you know what? You can have this.
Yeah, you wore it pretty much. I mean, the only guy I saw a lot of on social media, but that wasn't Marvel related, was probably Todd McFarlane, because he has Spawn 300 coming out, Spawn 301. So everybody's excited about that. But other than that, Wes, I mean, Marvel put everybody to bed. I mean, as a guy who loves DC, I don't like seeing that, but I do love seeing it at the same time.
Now, we have DC coming out with Birds of Prey, a Joker movie, right? Anything else that I'm Suicide Squad, all kind of on the slate.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. And you get none of that.
No.
So, and like I've heard, like if you follow Casey Walsh, the comics guy,
Yes.
the comics kid,
the editor in chief.
what's his handle, right? The comics kid.
I think you're right.
But yes, the editor in chief of
Geeks Worldwide.
Geeks Worldwide, which is one of our hosting partners here. He has been talking up Birds of Prey, saying that like from what he's seen and from what he's hearing, that it's going to be a smash hit.
And I'm excited for that for sure. It's just
the Joker looks great.
Does. I'm very excited to watch that movie.
The Suicide Squad, it has James Gunn in it, so it kind of builds it up a little bit more.
How can you not be excited about that?
How do you not prop these up ahead of time?
I guess it's just poor planning. We've seen DC continue to struggle when it comes to their movies. I mean, I told you that I just started watching Titans finally.
Right, yeah.
And Teen Titans, it's great. I very much enjoy it. I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it already, obviously you need DC Universe to watch it, but Marvel just has so much in their back pocket because they haven't used the X-Men, who are their best characters. You've been, clamoring for Fantastic Four. They have them now too, and we're seeing other characters get brought in. What was the one bit of news though that you would say you were most excited about? We'll say
most excited about. I think this one really kind of. Now, obviously, there are some bigger ones that got my attention, but the one that I kind of liked the most was. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And I kind of like the idea of that and WandaVision with the Disney Plus shows and how they're really going to tie it into the rest of the world. How they do it with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm not sure. I know Baron Zemo is supposed to be in there. We got the purple mask Baron Zemo.
Which I like that. I'm surprised that the Captain America one, though, Winter Soldier is one.
Yeah, I really like Anthony Mackie.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He does a good job. But I really didn't think WandaVision would be on your list because I thought you were out on that.
Well, because it leads into Doctor Strange, which I think would make me again another reason why I have to pay the $6.99 a month or $69 a year or whatever it is for Disney Plus.
Yeah,
because it's gonna, if these Disney Plus shows have a direct correlation to what we see on the big screen, then then I'm all in. This is what the MCU Netflix series should have been.
Yep, they need to. Yeah, you think? Yeah. Speaking of that, Jess Jones is out on Netflix right now. I have not even thought twice about watching that. I think I will. I'm not certain though.
Pass on it.
I'm so in on Titans right now.
Biggest thing. What left you with two hard nips?
Oh man, when I found out that Blade was gonna get his own movie, and you got Mahershala Ali. Oh my God, I'm still fired up about it.
Who I'm not sure because I know you've been. Like really hammering this nail over the last couple. Like as much as I've said I've wanted to see Fantastic Four,
Blade, yes,
yeah, it's been Blade for you.
Yes.
Mahershala Ali, thumbs up, thumbs down on the casting.
He's great. I mean, he's a great actor. You can't go wrong with him.
Right? I mean, I agree.
Tim,
what do you got?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of that. Great. Not only is he a great actor, but I think he's somebody who can handle kind of the physical demands of the role as well.
Oh.
So you're going to get a little... I mean, everybody likes to talk about the job that Wesley Snipes did, but he's not a great actor.
No.
I mean, he's always just Wesley Snipes playing a different character.
Right, yeah.
So this way here, you have a guy who can actually inhabit a character, but also still be just as much of a badass.
I was sold on him as an actor when I saw him in Luke Cage.
Right.
I have not watched that third season of True Detective yet. I will. But you guys talked him up so much in the course of that too. So I have
deservedly so.
A ton of faith in him as an actor. He's an award-winning actor. Mm-hmm. You put him in Blade. I mean, and this is a character that I think there is so much damn potential for him. I enjoyed the Blade movies. The third one, but for what they were in that time, even going back and watching them now, I'm like, for when they came out,
they kind of hold up.
Yeah,
they kind of hold up.
There's a little hokiness to it, but they hold up. Yeah, for sure. So,
Tim, what was your go-to? Your biggest takeaway?
Or did you have a least favorite thing?
Well, I'll tell you my favorite thing first.
Okay.
Please
do. Because my favorite thing was probably under the radar for a lot of people.
Okay.
But the announcement that they're going to have an animated What If.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm totally sold on. I love that idea. It was my favorite. I think I've mentioned it before on the show. I love that comic line as a kid. I love the fact that not only are we getting Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher, who I think is perfect casting for that role.
Yeah, unbelievable casting, right.
But we're getting all the actual MCU actors to come back and voice their characters.
They were saying that all the actors on the article that I was reading who was doing it, and it was literally every single one. Mm-hmm. Like small, big roles. Like I was blown away by that.
I didn't look, but I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. will be in it some way.
I mean, they had Michael B. Jordan in there. Mm-hmm. They have, what's his name from the actual Black Panther? Why am I blanking on his name?
Boseman.
Yes, thank you. Like all these guys, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely all in on that. I love that idea. I wasn't so sure I was going to get Disney Plus, but that sold me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's what sold
you? Any one specific storyline you hope they cover in that?
No, because they could just go anywhere with it.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of it will be very centric to, like, the first three phases of the Marvel movies.
Right.
Probably
which I think is probably not the best way to go because there's so many different ways that you could go. But, it's going to be a limited series. So
the other thing with that, though, is, too, Tim, we're guys that have a pretty good knowledge of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody who loves the MCU that's going to want to watch these shows.
But it doesn't mean that you couldn't do, what if, well, we talked about it before. What if Spider-Man became the Punisher?
Oh, man.
So you could do that without it having to
real life consequences or consequences on the MCU or anything like that.
Not every single episode has to have a direct, Avengers connection. And then, so what's my least favorite announcement?
Yeah, we'll start there.
Yes.
Everything else.
Really?
I was not really all that excited for the rest of the announcements that they made.
How? How are you not excited about Blade or Fantastic Four?
It's okay. But it's not.
Doctor Strange, horror movie.
The Doctor Strange horror movie does sound pretty cool.
Okay, there we go.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where there's no like real tent pole for them with this.
Right, and I understand that this Eternals appears to be their biggest one, at least with their biggest actor names in it.
Yeah. But that's like saying Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be your tent pole for Phase 3.
Right. Okay.
Like it's not enough for people. Now the other thing that I read,
Thor though. They got another Thor movie, and everybody wants more Thor.
But they have a Thor movie that's going to be a real stretch for a lot of people too.
It might be.
So they're taking a lot of chances here.
They are.
By not bringing out, the third Guardians movie, by not bringing out some of these other projects that they're talking about.
Black Panther 2.
Yeah, by not putting them in this phase. But again, they're saying this phase will probably just be a 2-year phase as opposed to a 4-year. So that kind of gives you an out to some degree.
Yep.
But I just feel like there wasn't enough oomph in what they were doing. Then again, though, they were making some teases toward the end there, especially when they mentioned the mutants.
Yep, right.
When Feige mentioned the mutants. So maybe we're going to see something else. And then the other thing, too, is I saw a lot of people complaining about how, how can there be no Avengers movie in this phase? First of all, I'm kind of tired of the Avengers.
Yeah, let them breathe a little bit.
Yep.
And second of all, just because there's no Avengers movie doesn't mean the Avengers can't be in a movie.
Exactly.
They don't have to be the star of every film that they're in. In fact, the Avengers aren't even the star of most comics that they're in.
Right.
They show up in comics all the time without being the headline characters.
It's back-to-back weeks of dropping knowledge.
The comics were the Avengers comics were never. They always need to be integrated elsewhere. Is what made them more appealing when they were on their own.
It didn't sell as a comic on its own. It sold as a bridge between storylines for other titles.
Now I'm sure that's different. We don't know the numbers, but my least favorite thing from it. Well, not least favorite. Yeah, least favorite, I guess, was the Hawkeye, show.
Yeah, that's mine too. I'm just kind of like, doesn't do it for me.
It's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna.
I just don't get the love for him.
Yeah. I guess it's the
cool
idea of being a non-superhero that he could be arguably the most relatable character to the audience.
Give me Moon Knight then. Give me Moon Knight, please, for the love of God.
Well, maybe we get there
at some point, hopefully. But
so let's do a quick rundown of the timeline. Tim just mentioned on a 2-year basis or so, and then we'll run down some little notes that I have through all these movies here. So the first one out is Black Widow, May 1st, 2020. Cast includes David Harbour, who's going to be playing the role of Alexei or the Red Guardian. Florence Pugh, who's Yelena, who I believe is Natasha's sister. Rachel Weisz, who is playing the role of Melina. And then O.T. Fagabenle, which I probably butchered that last name.
Yeah,
you made it more interesting.
Yeah. Yep. I think I pronounced every letter in that word, which I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. He will be playing the role of Mason. This is directed by Kate Shortland, who's done some SMILF episodes. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not. Are you?
It's a TV show. Single mother. I think it's based in Boston.
Okay.
It's like a comedy dramedy.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
You made up a great new word there.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
That works.
I thought it was real. I didn't think you made it up. Look at you.
Yeah. Look at that. Right.
Got to copyright that.
Yeah. So that's we got Taskmaster as the villain. Although we don't have anyone who's actually playing him yet.
I like the Taskmaster. I like that ad a lot.
Cool.
My brother's big on him. He's got a great look. I'm very excited to see how they handle that. Crossbones was good in terms of how they handled that look, and it's not even remotely close to the same, but I think there could be similar challenges with it that I'm excited to see what they do there.
Yes, and I agree with that. So this looks like it's going to be taking place after the events of Civil War, with flashbacks to her life in Soviet Russia and growing up in that spy household, that spy camp or whatever it was.
Red Room.
The Red Room, thank you. We get the Budapest story, maybe. So maybe that brings in Hawkeye.
I like that.
I don't know, at some point.
So it's to be a flashback to Budapest then, right?
So yeah, I'm sure it plays with the timelines, but I think the brunt of the story, or the modern day story in that, takes place after Civil War.
Gotcha.
And then it probably goes backwards in time a little bit.
Okay.
At least that's how I interpreted it. People who saw some early footage were comparing it to The Bourne Identity, meet some Winter Soldier, obviously spy movie connections there.
That
a lot
makes
of
sense.
hand-to-hand combat.
That makes sense. Look, I'm all in for a kick-ass female, character who can like Captain Marvel is cool, but I definitely prefer those who are normal people that just get after if they have enhanced strength, whatever. I felt like with Black Widow we got some of that, but not as much after Iron Man 2. And Iron Man 2 she was got
awesome.
after it, but from there on out it was I felt like she had her moments, but nothing even close to that. And I'm seeing was that Anna movie I told you about, the preview. Have you seen that preview yet?
No, I might have.
And then I saw I went and saw Spider-Man Far From Home again with my dad the other day. And I saw the Charlie Angels preview. Normally I would have no time for that, but you got Kristen Stewart in there. You got the girl from Kimberly from the Power Rangers, the new and Jasmine in Aladdin. She's in it, and I was watching. I'm like, oh my god, these girls kick ass. I'm in. I would never.
Yeah, we'll see how that movie goes. I don't know about that, but I think what's interesting about Black Widow is that this is the first one in the new Phase 4, and it's really has like, what are the stakes, right? She's dead. We know she's dead. This takes place in like a bottle cap type of movie.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have this movie come out first if it's not going to lay the groundwork for what's to come, right?
Right. Everybody's going to. People are just going to go see this movie just for the credits.
The connections,
just for the credits.
Yeah, but something has to happen in this event that I don't know.
Otherwise,
leads
you're going to be upset.
The Eternals or to something like that. Like, I don't know.
You will be upset otherwise.
Yeah, right. Like I think so.
It should establish
if that's going to be the first one. I love David Harbour in there. Like I think that's a great casting.
Mm-hmm. It'll be maybe Taskmaster is what kind of ties things together. We'll see though. But I'm either way, I'm excited for it. I don't need it to be connected.
Right.
And it always is, but
I look forward to streaming it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. on your Fire Stick. We're just
I'm not going to the movies to see it.
See, I'll go to the movies and see that.
Okay.
I'm a Black Widow fan. I'm in on it. Next up is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Obviously, you got Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie, and then you also got Daniel Brawl, who's coming back as Baron Zemo. Apparently from San Diego Comic-Con, they're talking about Bucky going berserk with that magic phrase again, so that kind of comes back into play.
Yes, give me that all day.
And then Falcon obviously probably learning how to use Captain Shield and then fallout from that.
I like that. Yeah, maybe he can do a little bit better than Happy did in Far From Home. But I'm all in on Winter Soldier being semi-evil again because, like you said, when he gets to... What's the word you use? But I can't think of what you usually say. But he gets all like, whiny.
He's like mopey. He's emo.
But when he's evil, he is kick ass. He's as awesome as anybody, and he just gets after. I mean, you could tell he used this. They had a super soldier serum or something similar to Cap. His arm obviously is super powered and everything like that. I'm totally in on him being evil as much as Bucky doesn't like it. Sorry, dude, you're just way more appealing that way.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like I said, that adds a little bit more of character development to him than him just kind of being like, all right, where's the fight now? It gives him like a little bit more layers, I think.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm wondering where this can go. We'll see. I'm holding out good hope. I really like that kind of buddy cop dynamic that you were kind of forming, and I think it was Civil War.
That's where it started. Yep.
So maybe they hope kind of build off that hokiness.
Definitely the show I'm most excited for from Disney Plus.
Yeah. Next up is coming out November 5th, 2020 is The Eternals. So essentially, maybe you guys might be able to speak to this a little bit more, but the rundown that I found of is a race of immortal aliens sent to Earth by the Celestials to protect mankind from the deviants.
Yeah. You know as much as I do with
anything?
this.
You guys got anything on this?
I was getting messed up with Gambit and the Externals, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about them is that they're like godlike powers.
Okay.
Makes sense.
That's kind of what I got. You got some like I don't know if these are like
names.
Real folklore names, almost like what you deal with like Thor and their Norse legends. There, you have Icarus, who's Richard Madden, which was not Jon Snow, but the other.
He was
the brother.
Rob Stark.
Rob Stark. Yes, thank you. Kumail Nanjiani as Kinjo, Selma Hayek as Ajax, who's supposed to be the leader of the Eternals. Angelina Jolie as Thena.
Yeah. Yes.
Gilgamesh is another name that kind of comes up a lot in basic lore and culture.
This is when hero story.
Yeah,
seriously, this is when look, we already knew Marvel won because they passed Avatar, and even before that, Marvel had won. But this is just like a little icing on the cake. You get Angelina Jolie in a superhero movie in a semi-main character role, or a prominent role in the movie. That's when you know you won, because she's not even remotely somebody I would think would be in a superhero movie.
But I just wonder. So this is obviously doesn't get made without.
Lara Croft's kind of a superhero to some degree.
And so is Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I'm just a dumbass.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I wouldn't look at her as being in that. I guess.
that was 15 years ago. Yeah.
So current Angelina Jolie being in it, I wouldn't expect it. Obviously, years ago, yes.
Everyone wants that Marvel money, man.
Oh yes,
that pays.
Yeah, and relevancy too.
Right.
Let's be real.
Well, yeah, I wonder if this movie could be made if it wasn't for Guardians, right? Because without people really knowing what Guardians was. Mm-hmm. And the success of that, then if that had flopped, then maybe they wouldn't, go out on the limb like they would with the Eternals.
I have an overall thought on the set of movies we have coming out, but I want to save that towards the end.
Going further out on the deep end, the next movie scheduled to come out, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, December 12th, 2021. This is supposed to have the real Mandarin, not the fake actor Mandarin.
Nice.
Who leads a group known as the Ten Rings. This is the same one that kidnapped Tony Stark in the original Iron Man.
Okay.
It's starring Simu Liu, who is going to be the titular character, which I love that word. Titular.
Yes.
Starting fresh off the boat. He's been taking the TV show. Also, famously, of course, Asian Bachelorette Season 2. I think he started that. That's what his IMDb profile said. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, I know very little about this character. I know he was in Domino for a little bit in the recent run.
Okay.
And he seemed like a pretty cool character then. He seemed kind of quiet, mysterious.
Yeah.
Down to business. So I don't know what they're going to do with that here, but
I wonder, this means no love for Iron Fist, right? This is essentially the same thing.
There's an issue with Iron Fist and Daredevil and all these other characters. Like with Netflix, there's a certain amount of time where they can't use them.
Right.
So, but honestly, Iron Fist. I remember when the show came out, I was like, why? What do I care about Iron Fist? I always heard his comics suck.
Well, it's got to be the same reasoning behind here.
I mean, maybe, but I think Shang-Chi's a little bit different.
We need an Asian hero.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Yep.
Again, I think that's the big takeaway there as I talk through a burp.
You did fine. You were fine.
Is the diversity level in here is like they even went as far to say that there's the first deaf character who I think is in the Eternals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is Lauren Ridloff's character, Makari. I think
she's from Walking Dead, if I'm thinking correctly.
Oh, okay.
She plays a deaf character in that show. If I'm thinking of the right person.
Yeah, so they're just really going, really.
I didn't know she was actually
which they
deaf.
need. I think male or MCU movies have been mostly white male dominant throughout the course of this 10, 11-year run.
It's definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because
it's a hard argument.
It's pretty much War Machine and Falcon up until you had Black Panther brought in,
right?
And that's why one of the reasons why I've been hammering for Blade too, because he's a cool character.
It works,
But anyways, what else we got next?
We got WandaVision, Springer 2021 on Disney Plus. So we got Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany reunited after the events of Avengers Endgame. So this is Vision has yet to be resurrected in this. Since dying in Infinity War. And then Elizabeth Olsen was quoted as saying, "It's going to get weird. We're going to finally understand Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch."
Oh.
So I hope it gets weird. This is supposed to directly lead into the events, or really set up the events of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Really smart on their part.
So I love that. We get Monica Rambeau back, who was from Captain Marvel, of course. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But again, I think what really links me into this is the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse.
That is an easy way to get you going. Is if this means something for something else,
right?
Then it's it must see for
then
Wesley
I got a good reason for it.
Yes.
Because that comes out May 7th, 2021.
And I am very excited for this movie. And this is obviously must see in the theaters. Honestly,
right.
I may make a point to see this in IMAX, and if they 3D is an option too.
If you're gonna bump up and you want to pay that extra price, this would probably be the movie for it.
Yeah, based on what we saw in the last one. I mean, because that was insane.
You got any thoughts on Doctor Strange, Tim?
No, but I'm glad that they're taking it in a different direction than just another straight, because the Doctor Strange character can go so many different ways.
Yeah.
Right.
That you need to kind of explore that. Great, he played a hero role, but now you need to really explore a lot of some of the other facets of who he is and what he does. So I like the fact that they're going, and they've got a great actor in the role.
Oh, yeah.
That can actually anchor that. So no matter what they decide to do, no matter how weird they decide to go with it, he can always kind of bring it back to some grounding with the rest of the MCU. So I think it's a little bit of a bold choice, but it's
I like it
to do it. But yeah, I'm glad they're doing it.
And I think the first one, it wasn't really scary, but I think they could have leaned it more into horror elements in that movie. I think that storyline kind of presented itself, that opportunity, and to know just to go one step further. I think 'cause it's still going to be a PG-13. Sorry.
Right? No. You're good. With this character, you have to try and challenge him because he's. I know sometimes it seems like he's not overpowered, but he is one of the most powerful characters in the MCU. As much as Captain Marvel could go and probably kick his ass, if he plays it right, he should be able to win every single time.
Right.
So
exactly.
you need to push him a little bit to his limits. But
the only thing that's going to do him in is something, tearing apart his own psyche. So that's why you need to have. It seems like that's where they're going with this kind of a movie.
And again, I think this. You talk about maybe lacking a tentpole movie. I think this really could be it. Obviously, it goes further into explanation. You would think of the multiverse, which to me still seems like the most easiest and seamless way to bring in Fantastic Four, Deadpool. All that stuff, X-Men, all that stuff. So that still seems to be the easiest way.
It would be kind of funny if they're like, we're going to bring in these characters that were in an alternate universe because they technically were.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, it's a little meta, right?
The Foxiverse.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I also wonder too, obviously at the end of Doctor Strange, you have Mordo saying he wants to go on a spree of ridding the world of all the sorcerers because there's too many of them. Mm-hmm. Do you get that? Does Dr. Voodoo come into play at all? Which would be really interesting.
He'd probably be Brother Voodoo at that point, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That character overall,
yes,
right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking out loud.
Because you do that that's what Haitian voodoo.
Yep.
It's what so that can be definitely horror-esque.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
yes.
So I don't know.
Voodoo's freaking creepy, for sure.
We got Loki, Spring 2021, also on Disney+. Mm-hmm. Kevin Feige said this series will tell you what happened to Loki right after he leaves with the Tesseract in the Endgame. So this is old Loki, which Tom Hiddleston also kind of reiterating at the San Diego Comic Comic-Con crowd. You guys saw 2012 Avengers, right? So he's still that guy. So,
nice. I like that. So
I'm in on that. I think that could be interesting to see where it goes.
Can't trust him then.
Yes.
What it means. I like that.
We have the aforementioned Marvel's What If series, also on Disney+. Mm-hmm. We got Hawkeye, training Kate Bishop.
Yep.
This is probably another tentpole in the Phase 4.
Yeah.
Thor, Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi returns.
Yes.
You got Chris Hemsworth returning. Yes. You got Tessa Thompson returning.
Yes.
And, of course, Natalie Portman reprising her role as Jane Foster.
I'm actually excited about this.
Very cool.
A couple years ago, I was out on the idea of making Thor into a female character because I just felt like there was this surge of it. It was like, why? This is when Riri Williams came out, Ironheart, and there were other characters. Like, we're trying to do too much with it. But I have since changed my mind a little bit on that stuff, if you will. And I am very excited to see how Natalie Portman handles this role. But what I need out of her is I need her to get in the same kind of similar physical condition, at least, as Gal Gadot was as Wonder Woman.
Right.
Because if you're going to be Thor, I'm not saying you need to be jacked. You're not, as a woman, it's different than as, a male. You don't need to be jacked. But I need you to look like you belong in that role. You can't be dainty little,
I'll say she looked very dainty, very nice on stage at San Diego Comic-Con.
She always looks great. But, I mean, if you're going to...
Long Island Zone.
If you're going to take on that role, you got to do it right. That's just my opinion.
I agree. Tim, you have any thoughts on a tentpole movie here? Maybe?
I still think it might be a little out there for a lot of people, especially if they don't know that there was a female Thor in the comics. But at the same time, when you're bringing in somebody with that kind of star power, I think it'll kind of assuage some of that.
Okay.
I don't think she has to be all that jacked.
No, not jacked, but Gal Gadot, I wouldn't say was jacked. She was fit.
Right. But I don't know why you're that worried about Natalie Portman not being that way.
She's always dainty. She's small. She was
a ballerina.
I think she
was strong in V for Vendetta.
I think she's a little bit Christian Bale-ish, where she just kind of can adapt herself to the role that she needs to play.
Good. That's all I care about. And actually, I also heard from some of the guys over at Toy Vault too in Dartmouth that that the Jane Foster run in the comics was actually pretty darn good too. So
that's fairly new, isn't it? Isn't that a fairly recent comic book series?
Yeah, but they did. I think they ended that storyline too. I'm not
I
sure.
hope it doesn't go like the comics did, though. Apparently, in the comics, she had breast cancer. And so she became Thor, but then every time she went back to being Jane Foster, she died. Oh. So she just kept dying over and over again in the comics. That would just be dumb.
That'd be tough to write around.
That would just be dumb.
Yeah, I'm going to guess
that reminds me of that show, Get a Life. Did you ever see that show, Get a Life, with Chris Elliott? He was a paper boy, and he lived with his parents, and he was in his 30s. And the show was so ridiculous that by the second season, they just had him die at the end of every episode. And then
was this like an MTV show or something?
No, it was Fox. But then they would just start the next episode as if nothing ever happened.
Like a regular Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it was. Well, actually, Chris Elliott was in Groundhog Day.
Oh, see now it's all tied in.
Together.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Just how you like it, Wes.
That's it. Absolutely neat and tidy. What didn't you hear that you would have liked to have heard?
Well, Feige brought up the X-Men, right?
Yeah, but the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Guardians 3, that was all just like throwaway stuff at the end. You didn't really get like a whole lot.
Well, I would have liked more X-Men, but I don't know what the limits are on that. And actually, this kind of brings me to the overarching point I wanted to bring up earlier. What they're continuing to do is they're trying to milk the characters who aren't quite as popular so they can continue their run. And people are going to give them a shot still, and I'm sure they'll like it. And it's a 2-year phase. They're being safe with it right now. Not sure who's going to resonate as well. But now you still have Fantastic Four, who, as much as I've always been down on the Fantastic Four, I think you guys are a bit more in the majority where you think that they have a shot, especially in the hands of the MCU.
Right.
Which, if anybody's going to get it right, it's them. But more importantly, they have their ace in their back pocket. They have the X-Men. When they bring them, Kevin Feige is...
But they can't miss on that, though.
They won't.
Can't go through on a lull and then hope the X-Men be the savior.
They won't miss on it. No. Okay. I'm saying they're waiting till they have to do that, because once you bring them in the forefront, forget it.
Right.
I mean, Endgame, don't get me wrong, I can't imagine ever passing that, but the X-Men are just many.
I don't know how you tie it into these movies, the slate of movies, but I think you're going to start to get mutant hints throughout this phase.
Yeah, I think so. Well, technically, in the comics, at least in one run that I remember reading, vampires were considered mutants, too.
Okay.
But it's a weird mutation.
But again, Blade is not really in this Phase 4. There's no timeline. Like, I know it was announced, but
I'm so excited about Blade.
So that's going to be great.
But I think they can pepper mutant stuff in a little bit to start the build up.
The gamma radiation, we talked about that back on the Endgame episode.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. I think I would have liked to seen something with Deadpool. I feel like that's an easy moneymaker. But they haven't figured out a way. They don't even necessarily have to rope him in. I think they've done a good job of having him kind of operate around the margins.
Yeah.
And still be able to pull in huge amounts of money.
Yeah, I think that's another one where you don't need to rush with it, but at the same time, that's one where you can't take forever because Ryan Reynolds isn't getting any younger.
Right.
As much as he doesn't look like he's old or anything. And you use a lot of makeup, so that helps.
And I find it a little odd with the choices of movies that they went to go with in Phase 4 and then push back the known properties of Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Guardians.
I thought you'd get at least one of those.
Something like that, right? Yeah.
That is true. Well, I mean, but you have Thor and you have Black Widow as a known property. I know it's a risk, but
but again,
Doctor Strange.
That's like very small scale.
I bet you get 15 minutes of Chris Hemsworth in that Thor movie.
Oh, I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
15 minutes, I wouldn't.
But I bet you get 15 minutes of him in there.
I'll probably still enjoy it, but I would not be happy if he.
It probably will be like passing the torch to Tessa Thompson and Jane Foster.
By the way, the first LGBTQ character.
Right, exactly. A whole lot of firsts. Yeah.
So.
Who are you talking about? Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Anything else you wanted to wrap up on? Westworld Season 3, Watchmen trailer, Star Trek Picard trailer. The Witcher teaser.
The Witcher teaser looks dope.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man, that looks sick.
I'm pretty excited that Data is going to be in the and 7 of 9 are going to be in the Picard series.
Yes.
I know nothing.
I'm not a big Star Trek guy. Yeah. So
I'm not a huge Star Trek guy, but it's cool that they're bringing in some fan favorite characters.
Okay.
Into that, I'll watch anything Patrick Stewart does, though.
Yes.
Now we don't have a comic book minute this week or a Stay Woke of the week because we had a lot of news to get to. But I did want to highlight one thing quickly that came out of Comic-Con. So the X-Men the X-Men are getting rebooted in the Marvel Comics, and I forget who it was that took over, but they're wrapping everything up everywhere you look. Mr. and Mrs. X. They have the whole Age of X-Men thing. All these things. Now the books that are coming out. I might be screwed, Wes, because I don't. There are only like 2 that I'm like, I don't think I want to buy them.
Oh boy!
So you have X-Men, which features Cyclops, Jean Grey, and she's wearing her Marvel Girl outfit. Wolverine, Havoc, and Cable, and I think there are a couple other characters in there. These are the ones that I know. Excalibur has Gambit, Colossus, Rogue, Jubilee. That one I'm definitely getting because Gambit. The Marauders have Storm, Bishop, Iceman, Emma Frost, and Pyro. I love Bishop. I just question how much he's going to be in there. New Mutants, I didn't know many of the characters. I think Sunspot was in there, but I know Magic was in there. I'm out. I'm not getting that one. Fallen Angels, the cover was Psylocke, X-23, and I believe it was Young Cable. I'll probably get that one.
Okay.
Love me some X-23. And then the last one was X-Force, and it has Domino, Wolverine, Colossus, Beast, and Jean Grey as Marvel Girl, and there are others. It is, and I think I saw Juggernaut somewhere too. But dude, this stuff is just loaded,
hitting us in all the feels right now. Those are all the heavy hitters.
Oh man, yeah.
Sounds pretty classic alignment too.
Yeah, right. I love what they're doing with it. So if personally, I'll probably go Excalibur and Excalibur and the Fallen Angels, and then I'll figure it out from there.
Okay.
But
Excalibur was always one of my favorite comics.
Was it?
Yeah, because it seemed darker, and then when X-Force came out, they went really ridiculous with it. You just timed yourself out?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was monitoring so well before the show and everything too. But anyways, so that wraps up the news, right? Unless you have something else, Wes?
No, that's it.
So that brings us to our Ultimate Fighting Game rosters.
Yes.
So we have some rules with this too. Do you want to spell it out for us?
Yeah, so again, this is a little bit of a spin-off from our 3v3, 2v1 segments, which I love, which I think gets a little bit of traction on the social media sites and things like that.
Yeah, it's our way to interact.
So yeah, it's kind of fun here. So, okay, so we can only have one player from a specific game.
Yes.
Even further on top of that, you can't have duplicate characters as in the Marvel Capcom overlays.
Right.
Essentially. So if I take one Marvel character, I can't take another Marvel character, even though it may be different from the Marvel Capcom game.
Yes, exactly.
Does that sound pretty succinct?
Yes, that is very correct.
And then we'll have 6 guys overall, right? Is that right?
Yes, and we're not doing Snake this time, right? You said
no. Well, if we're going to be doing 3, I think we should do Snake.
Okay. Yes,
right.
I agree.
So Tim's in this.
Tim, do you have your roster ready?
I have my roster ready.
Okay. So
any final questions before we get this going here? Speak now or forever.
Well,
hold
we
your peace.
we got to figure out we didn't figure out our draft order before the show.
We'll do that.
One of the questions that came up earlier before we came on the air and before you arrived was, is it solely fictional characters? Because you shouldn't be able to pick a guy from, say, like a UFC game. You know, like you shouldn't be putting Brock Lesnar.
Oh, okay.
Because I know, I forgot.
That's a good question. I had a couple wrestlers on my list.
You know what, though? I would say wrestlers can be an exemption to that rule.
Yeah,
because they're characters anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're picking, Lennox Lewis.
You're not picking Dwayne Johnson. You're picking The Rock.
Right.
Which there's a difference.
Okay.
And also, like, they're not real fighters. They don't fight people.
Right.
So it's not like you're picking a boxer or a UFC
like Muhammad
guy.
Ali or something. Right.
Real quick, like squirrel moment. I saw the preview for Jumanji 2 with The Rock and Kevin Hart. Oh my God.
Looks funny. That was a pleasant surprise the first time I watched it.
It was, yeah, that looks really good.
I wasn't expecting a whole lot.
No, I wasn't expecting a whole lot either. So how are we deciding our draft order? We should have thought about this before the show. Probably should have picked numbers.
Well, let's just do 1, 2, 3.
Fine.
Does that sound good? Unless you have a different...
Nope, I'm fine with that. I prefer you just making a decision. So we're going to start with Tim, myself, then Wes, and then bring it back around.
Yes.
So we have 6 characters each. Okay, so Tim, go ahead and start.
Man, if I'm going first, then I better pick one of the characters that I think might be on the table for one of you guys.
Okay.
Might be. Again, I had mentioned on Twitter, I don't think I have anybody that was a character after 1999.
Yes. I'm very eager. I think you probably have your pick of the litter.
I think I do, but this is the one...
There's one game that he has. I saw one game pop up that will screw us a little bit.
This is one game where I think there may be some issues. And that would be... And I went with, out of the Street Fighter universe, I went with Super Street Fighter Turbo.
Okay.
Because that was just the most fun to play.
Okay.
So, out of the 3 that I had picked, I will go with my top choice, Edmund E. Honda.
Oh.
Which would not be, I would assume, somebody's first choice from Street Fighter.
He was ranked number 3 in one of my... I have 3 different value systems here.
Yeah.
He was number 3 on my hand-to-hand combat guys.
I mean, I always liked a fat guy because I could relate. Although even back then, I wasn't, a fat guy. But I like the fact that he had that slap ability,
the 100-hand slap.
Yep, and also the fact that he could just toss guys around, and they needed him in that kind of game to go up against some of the other bigger guys that were in that game. So
yeah, he's a sumo wrestler. That's his background. I'm very upset about this. I had the Street Fighter 2 version of him.
Either way, it's the same.
That's
it's the same
tough.
game.
Yeah.
Okay, so with my next one, I'm not going to go... So I'm definitely the way I'm picking this draft, I'm picking to win. I'm not just picking for my favorite characters.
Okay. Playing for keeps.
Because if I was going with Mortal Kombat, which is where I'm going to start, there are 2 characters that I would go with first, but there's one character who was always a pain in the ass to fight against, and if you had him, man, I just always felt like he was a cheat code because I know with your categories, ranged attacks is one thing you brought up. So I'm actually going to go with Raiden. I know he got...
Okay.
We threw a little shade his way last time, but his electrical attacks from a distance, man...
Keeps people at bay.
Oh, my God. He gets going. And then he has that spin move, too. I don't remember when that got integrated, but he flies at you in like a cyclone-type manner, tornado. I mean, the dude is unstoppable when he gets rolling. There are other characters that are awesome. He's not my favorite. I'm sure...
I think that's a solid pick.
I'm sure you guys will pick one of the other 2, because Mortal Kombat's, I feel like, a must.
Also the best actor of the Mortal Kombat film.
I still
Highlander, right? Was that
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
Was that's on Netflix, I think.
Have you seen Highlander?
Of course I've seen Highlander.
Okay,
I've seen it only when it's on like USA way back in the day, right after
Still
like
counts.
a Walker
There can only
Texas
be one.
Ranger.
As long as you've seen
marathon. Yeah, I've seen parts of it. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got, Wes?
My first pick. Okay, so I think it's important to get someone who is maybe a little overpowered to begin with. That fills the stat sheet. Again, I have 3 different categories of what I want for my team. So I'm going with this. Could be a good overall character, but I think this works for distance as well. Give me Green Lantern from the Injustice game.
Oh, okay, it's a good pick.
Very creative moveset. He accommodates all ranges.
I was considering him at one point.
He's super overpowered. He has a special move that takes him to his home world and then just creates anything and matches him up. But you got the power of the ring to work for you in your favor.
I think it's a good pick. So when I looked at this before we go on to round 2, when I looked at this, I was considering characters and how I play with them too.
Right.
Because you can use Superman on that game, but you can beat Superman if you're Batman, or, well, that's not saying much, but Red Hood can beat Superman and stuff like that. So that's the other thing I'm considering in the course of this too.
How you use them.
Yeah, because to me, that's important, because I considered Green Lantern, but I was like, I don't know if I'm good with him at all. But anyways, round 2, you're up, Wes.
Okay, so this is goes back to another game that was near and dear to my heart. This is arguably the best character from that game that I'm also getting, so I think this is a good value pick.
Okay.
Give me Star Fox from Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh.
Combination of speed, power, and the use of his blaster and reflector make him a beast. He can also call in an airstrike. Very quick, tough to catch. Good leader. I like that.
Was that your character on that game?
No, it wasn't. So my 2 were Samus and Captain Falcon, who unfortunately, Falcon Punch gets an honorable mention here, but does not make the cut.
See, I think Fox is one of those characters where either if you don't know how to use him, he's worthless. But if you know how to, I was
pretty good with him. Everyone always ran to go get Star Fox first. I was usually like the guy everyone gunned for.
Okay, so if you know how to do the roll and everything like that, he's the fastest character in the game.
Yeah.
He's such a pain in the ass to fight against. Okay, so
going back to you here.
You're right. So you've already gone with Smash. I'm betting that Tim's not going to go with Smash. I do have a Smash pick lined up, and I'm going to wait on that. I think, you know what? I'm going to go with my Contest of Champions pick.
Okay.
So we talked about overpowered characters. Now, there's one that I could go with who's not overpowered, but he's very strong, who I think you may end up picking, but I'm not going to go with him, Wes, because the female character that I'm going to take, I never, ever lost a fight on Marvel Contest of Champions with her.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to go with Gamora.
Great choice.
She is so quick on that game. In her second, you know how they have the bars?
Yes, the second special.
The second one was assassination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that person can. I feel like they can have
bleed out.
They can have like half a bar left, and it's boom, done. See ya.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like a cheat code. I felt like she was the best character on that game.
She's great, but she doesn't absorb power very well. She gets hit. You know, she has a low health rate.
No, then you gotta dodge a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
I'm just saying that's the downfall that you get with a lot of the women champions is they don't have as much.
Unless you use Rogue, who's also awesome on that game.
Lifesteal.
Yes. Oh, bingo. You got it.
That's it.
All right, Tim.
So we're nerding out there a little bit.
You know that I'm not much of a Rogue fan, but she was pretty awesome in the X-Men arcade game.
Yeah,
I will concede that. So I'm going to make my one other pick that had only the most remotest of chance of anybody else selecting them. But this comes from the 1999 Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Okay.
Venom.
Venom
from that game was outstanding. Now, so if I was going to pick a Marvel character, it was either going to be between him and Spider-Man from the 1997 Marvel Superheroes game.
Yep.
Spider-Man, just to be able to play him in a fighting game was it was breathtaking the first time I was able to do it. But then to take what you have with Spider-Man and then add Venom to that in the next game was just like the next step of being able to fight. And he just owned all the Capcom guys.
I love it.
That's a good pick.
That's a great, nice little nostalgic throwback pick.
I forgot he was on that game. That arcade game, man. That's why you go to the arcade.
Exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely.
When they took it out of the Dream Machine in what do you call it in Dartmouth, why would you get rid of this game?
What's great about some of these '90s games was the home ports were just as good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't really see that a lot with some of the 80s games, but by the time, Super Nintendo and Genesis came about, they finally figured it out. They're like, people just want the exact same game as the arcade at home.
Right. What do you got?
And then not have to put 25 cents in every time to play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we can go as weird as I want because nobody else is going to pick any of these other choices that I have.
How high does he go with Wu-Tang? That's what I want to know.
That's what I'm waiting for.
But does the Wu-Tang get negated now because they are real people? I mean, they were characters in this game, but they were themselves. They were just heightened versions of themselves.
No, I think it's open. I think it's on the table.
You think it kind of counts like the same thing as the wrestler?
Yeah.
You can have them, Tim.
Well, in that case...
I'm not picking...
In that case, my next choice will be the old dirty bastard from Wu-Tang Shaolin style, and only for two reasons. I mean, if you go back and you play this game, they're pretty much all the same. Like, everybody kind of does the same stuff. but I liked playing as the ODB for 2 reasons. One, his finishing move was he would basically camel clutch a guy and break his head off.
Okay.
Which was cool.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, the RZA had that whole thing where like he kicked the sword into the guy's throat. That was kind of cool too. But just watching him rip people's heads off, I thought like ODB might actually do that someday. Like with enough meth in the system, he might do that.
He might have.
But my favorite part about it,
from inspiration,
he referenced all of his different nicknames in the game.
Oh, okay.
So like he would be like, "Oh, you can't keep up with Big Baby Jesus. Oh, you can't come up with Old Dirty Chinese Restaurant." You know, like that was actually a legitimate ODB nickname.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Old Dirty Chinese Restaurant. So yeah, ODB makes my team.
Okay, I like that. That's a strong pick.
My third pick, I'm gonna make a safe one here because I know Wes has not picked from this team yet, and definitely one I would think you're considering. I'm gonna make a Street Fighter pick, and I'm gonna go with Ryu. Obviously, I dressed like him a little bit today, or Naruto, depending on who you ask. Apparently,
right? Yeah.
But
which I did not know that's how it was pronounced. I thought it was Naruto.
Yeah, so did I.
I could be wrong.
Naruto. No, I think you're right.
Okay. Either way,
I don't watch anime, so.
But the Hadoukens, he's quick, he's powerful at the same time too. I definitely was better with him on Street Fighter games as opposed to now the new Smash Brothers games. And again, I'm picking him from that. I have a Smash Brothers pick I would like to make separately later on. But yeah, that's definitely my number 3.
I like that. I think that's a good strong pick there. Okay, so right now I have Green Lantern and Star Fox. I've gotten picks from my 2 jack of all trades, my distance fighters. Now I want someone who's hand-to-hand combat.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Tim stole that with E Honda.
Oh.
That was very, very upset for me. That one took a hit. But close second would be from the video game Tekken 3, King 2.
Oh.
He's a professional wrestler with some flash. He's a brawler at his best. He's got a jaguar head, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
He's big on stringing throws and grapples together, and of course he has his great finisher, the rolling death cradle. He's nearly unstoppable from close range. You get him in there, he's not going to let go. He's got maybe a big cat's type of grip.
That's a really good pick. That's the only character I would pick from Tekken. I was wondering.
That's my favorite one. Yeah.
Yes, he's the only guy I ever used on that game, King 2. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Okay, so now I got to go back here, and you were correct, Nick. I have not selected someone from Street Fighter. Although E Honda was one of my favorites, my second favorite one, again for this same reason. I believe I have this right. Sagat from Street Fighter.
Zangief?
Sagat.
Oh,
Sagat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm pronouncing that right. He had the long arms, right? So he had the long arms and the long legs.
Oh.
That was the guy who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Not the Indian guy.
Yeah.
Dalsim.
Dalsim.
Dalsim was the guy with the long.
Excuse me.
And he had like the little shorts and the.
So even though I selected Sagat,
you're fine.
No, I want Dalsim.
Yes,
again, he had the long arms, the long legs. Keep everybody at bay. Keep them away from me.
He really did. Pick. Yeah, he really did.
Very frustrating to all my friends whenever I played against them.
That's a smart
He was
pick.
number 2 on my Street Fighter list.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Nice.
That's a good one. I would never have thought of that. Okay, so at the risk of Tim taking a Smash character, because I'm going to guess you're not taking an Injustice character, I'm going to go with, I shouldn't have said that out loud, I'm going to go with actually a guy you mentioned, Wes. I'm going to go with Captain Falcon, because as much as the Falcon Punch is tough to land,
yes,
when you can,
it's a game changer.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
I played that game. I mean, we all played it a lot. I played it a ton in college on the road. But more importantly, his up B move, his jump move, jump attack move, that was my go-to. You go and try and poach other guys, but they're getting hit up in the air, and then you sprint over because he was pretty quick.
You latch on and then jump off.
Boom, and then they're gone. Yep, and you see him. Oh man, I could send guys with that for sure. And then the Falcon Kick too was pretty valuable too. I felt.
Yeah, he's the ultimate risk-reward champion. Sometimes you'll jump off the board trying to leap off someone else. That'll happen. Sometimes you'll try to float down and do the Falcon Punch and then leave yourself wide open for a counter.
I think you were a little bit riskier than I was. Because I didn't run it.
Oh, no. See, yeah, I would really, really try to push it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's a great pick. Again, my number 2 on Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Tim? Back to you for your final 2 picks.
So now I'm going to go to a spot where really nobody else would go.
I mean, aside from Shaolin style Wu-Tang Clan?
This might even be more obscure than that.
Okay.
But also another game that I've referenced here on the show in the past, or at least with you guys. I'm going to go with Xavier Pendragon from Eternal Champions.
Oh.
So this guy was a blacksmith from 1692 Salem. So
local guy. I like that.
He
local
was
product.
he was just about to be burned at the stake,
mm-hmm.
and he was rescued by the Eternal Champion and put into this tournament.
Okay.
And so I will pick him not only because of his witchcraft abilities, but he had one of the most badass finishers in that game, where he would burn his opponent at the stake.
Oh, wow.
Like, they would just be tied to this post, this green flame would come up, and then you would just watch the skin melt off of them, and then you would just see their skeleton kind of fall off the pole.
Wow, I love that.
Finishers,
that's nice.
That's something I overlooked in the course finals, too.
Oh, yeah, that's big.
That's huge, yeah, because when it comes to Mortal Kombat especially, they have the
Those
best.
are some real good ones here.
Those are the best. Whew. Now, Tim, you got your 5th pick now.
So for my 5th pick, I'm going to go with a Mortal Kombat character.
Ooh.
But maybe not one that would be somebody's first choice.
Okay.
But kind of, he was my guy for a long time. Maybe because I would always be the guy that had to pick second. Because
Sure.
I didn't, it wasn't my game. So
Okay.
usually you go over somebody else's house. You'd think they'd let you pick first, but it never worked that way.
No.
So
It's always the race to get to the one that you guys want.
You guys have bad friends then, jeez.
My friends, they'd always want Scorpion. They'd always want Sub-Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I would settle on Baraka.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that he was a badass. I love the fact that he's a little bit inhuman.
Sure.
But at the same time, he wasn't just like some dumb beast character either.
Okay.
So Baraka would be my choice for Mortal Kombat.
I think that's a good pick.
Not too shabby.
Was he on your list?
No, he was
Okay.
not. I went very Mortal Kombat light because that was not allowed in my household when I was a kid.
Really?
Very violent game.
It was a very violent game. That's for damn sure.
Even the Nintendo version that didn't have blood. Well,
No.
that's by the time you were.
Well, my
a kid,
parents
they all had blood.
didn't know the difference, so if they just saw the Mortal Kombat, that was it, nixed pretty quickly.
So Super Nintendo didn't have the blood, but
Right.
Genesis did.
Right. Yes.
So I had Super Nintendo, so we'd go over to my friend's house to play it on Genesis.
Right.
See, I think I did have Sega Genesis at that time. I had both, but I'm not sure which. I think Super Nintendo preceded Sega Genesis for me.
Yeah, okay, I can see how it would. All right, so for my 5th pick, I am going to go with... So this one is a game that you may not think of as a fighting game initially because it does have a story mode to it, but when you're playing 2v2 or you can do it on your own as well, there is a fighting element to it. It's a little bit different, but it's Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which was my favorite Star Wars game they ever came out with. The one with Dash Rendar was cool too. I can't remember the name of that, but this one was definitely the best because it's all Jedis. And if you're playing a video game,
that's all you want to use anyway.
That's all you want, man. And they made it where they weren't too overpowered, but they were strong at the same time. So, I mean,
Tim's shaking his head no.
You say you want a game with all Jedi?
Where you can use Jedi all the time.
Oh man, I much prefer the Sith.
Oh no! I mean, just
like lightsaber.
You mean as opposed to other?
Yes, because you can use
characters.
Yes, I mean this game doesn't have Darth Maul. I'd love it if they had Darth Maul in this game, but yes, that's what I meant. So I'm gonna go with the smart pick here. A guy who was just unbelievable on the game, impossible to stop. You had to unlock him, Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, see, I was either going with him or Windu. I'm not.
I mean, if you had to go total fighting game, like if you had not allowed that because it was mostly a story mode game. He was also in Tekken.
Darth Vader was in Tekken?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Do you?
Oh, he was one of the secret guys. Wasn't
They I remember one of the Tekken commercials was all Darth Vader in the commercial.
I remember that now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
interesting.
It's a fair choice. You were covered.
Okay. So now, Wes, I'm curious. You're going to have to go with your Marvel character in here. I'm assuming you have one.
Well, I have two. So I have my two final picks here.
Yep.
And I'm going with, this was my best Jack of all trades character that I have left over. It's my Marvel Contest of Champions character. The aforementioned Blade.
Really?
Yeah, one of the most overpowered champions in the Contest of Champions, especially if you have his signature ability Awakened, which allows him to take the power that he's already accrued and turn that into health recovery. Very important.
Yep.
He's easily one of the best fighters in all of Marvel.
Yeah.
Hand to hand. He's got guns. He's got the samurai swords.
Super strength.
Super strength. He has his heightened sense makes him immune to any villain buffs, pretty much. And then lastly, he bleeds people like crazy.
Yeah. That's a good pick, Wes. It's interesting one. That's not the guy who I was thinking. I'll reveal who I thought you were going to take a little later when we're done.
And then my last one is for no other reason other than the style and just the overall badassery he would bring to my group. Stone Cold Steve Austin from SmackDown.
I love it.
Yeah. The SmackDown one on PlayStation 2, I think it was.
The SmackDown games were far superior.
It was great. Those were great games. Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that, dude.
Yeah, you get the rattlesnake out there. He's going to be stunning people left and right.
Making his return tonight as we're recording this.
Oh, is he really?
Raw reunion tonight. Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Wow. So for my last pick, I'm going to go with my all-time favorite character. The reason that I'm all in on all this stuff, Red Hood from Injustice 2. Mm-hmm. Obviously not an overpowered character by any stretch, but very strategic. A guy who the character when I got the game and whenever I play, I don't play much anymore, admittedly. The one I use all the time. He's quick. He has some range attacks to him too, and he can be a real pain in the ass. He has a lot of simple moves, but once you get going with him, he is tough to stop. And I may or may not have gotten a 3-inch action figure of him in Injustice 2 the other day.
Okay.
I might have gotten that.
I like that.
Maybe, but
well, something for the desk.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So I've got some places to go here.
You do as your sixth
the
pick.
places you'll go.
But I will
It's
say,
a Dr. Seuss reference for you.
based on some of these final choices that you guys made, I need a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I need a character that is insane.
Is it Mankind?
That all he cares about is killing and nothing else.
The Joker?
Nope. I'm going with from Killer Instinct.
Oh.
The 1994 Super Nintendo game.
Who could forget?
I'm going with Spinal.
Oh.
He was a skeleton who just tore people apart with a saber.
Okay.
So,
but doesn't have a whole lot of defense mechanism if he's just a bag of bones.
But he was still pretty badass. It was either between him and Cinder. I love the Cinder character because he was a smartass. But you're just saying that you don't know who.
No, I don't. No.
Cinder was like a Human Torch type character, but he was also a smartass.
Right.
But I don't.
I was channeling my inner Cinder there. What I was doing.
Going up against some of these guys that you have, I don't think sarcasm will be a very good skill.
It doesn't play.
I think
Who knows?
we just need somebody that's going to just destroy and
just
kill
some
people.
witty banter might throw Stone Cold off.
So Spinal.
What?
Is my choice.
That's what Stone Cold.
Yep, that's what he said.
What?
So, do you have any characters left on your board that you didn't pick or that I didn't pick?
Well, I had Scorpion on there. Mm-hmm. I had Magneto from Marvel vs. Capcom, who I thought was a very awesome character. Scarlet Witch from Contest of Champions.
She is very strong.
Joker from Injustice. Joe Budden from Def Jam Vendetta. Cyclops versus Marvel vs. Capcom. Chung-Li was a big famous one that we left off, who was great.
Mm-hmm.
Sub-Zero.
Yep, Sub-Zero for sure.
Shawn Michaels, was a big Shawn Michaels fan. Sweet Chin Music, you keep people at bay.
Oh, I don't know though. I don't know how Shawn Michaels would fare against some of these other characters.
Well, but he's a high flyer. He only shows up for the big mega matches. He's a headliner. He's not afraid of the moment. Mm-hmm. He puts out hell. He's been through hell. Hasn't he? How many times has he broken his back? And he's still
also
wrestling.
A born-again Christian, though. I don't know if that would help him.
Well, he has the power of God on his side, so I think that always helps.
It does. So on my list, I had Mace Windu for the Star Wars game.
Sure, yeah.
One game that I had listed here that I didn't go to, but I had it as my backup was Power Rangers Legacy Wars. It's on phones now. Draken on that game, who I've talked about a lot.
Big
Lord
fan
Draken.
of Draken, yeah.
Love him. Great look. He is very, very tough to stop on that game. Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I was always more of a Sub-Zero guy, but Raiden, obviously, I think he's the best character on that game.
That's a good pick.
Atrocitus from Injustice was awesome. That game also has Hellboy, which I know the movie gets a bad rap, but Hellboy's pretty fun to use in that game.
Okay.
And it also has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I love using Michelangelo or Raph.
Sure.
Also, Mortal Kombat 11 has Spawn. I may rent the game just to be able to use Spawn. I am very excited to see what they do with him.
Okay.
Now, the last one I wanted to mention, there's Ken, obviously, from Street Fighter, but the last one I wanted to mention was Contest of Champions. I'm stunned he was not on your list. I feel like Iron Man is one of the easiest characters to use on that game.
Oh, yeah, he's easy, but I'm not a big fan of him. He gets boring after a while.
Well,
Even
fine.
the new update ones with the Infinity War suit, that's pretty cool, but I haven't really played it that much recently. My real favorite one, who I think is really overpowered, is Hyperion.
Yeah, he is very overpowered on that.
Which is essentially Superman in the Marvel universe.
Yes, but Iron Man's so quick on that game. Like if I'm at look, I normally use Rogue, Gambit, Bishop. Those are my three characters. I use Blade a lot too, and Nightcrawler. That's probably the five I roll with most. Very mutant heavy, but if I need to win, I'm breaking out Hulkbuster or Iron Man. They're both.
I hate Hulkbuster. It doesn't do any damage for me.
I felt like he's just as quick as Iron Man's better. Iron Man's definitely better than Hulkbuster. But anyway, Tim, did you have any other ones that you didn't get to mention?
So there's a few that I made some decisions, executive decisions against, especially when it came to, I could have gone with the Marvel superheroes game from '97. I could have gone Spider-Man or Wolverine.
Right.
Both really awesome to play in those games. Wolverine, you're gonna laugh at this, but Clay Fighter. I had Blue Suede Goo and Ichabod Clay both on my list. If you've never played Clay Fighter, it's a lot of fun.
I think I've played this game.
Wow.
From 1993, it was a
Super
goofy
Nintendo?
goofy version of Street Fighter.
I think I've played this game.
Stop motion clay in a video game. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, you just really I don't know, you just struck a brain cell or something, my last memory nerve.
But so I had those two guys. I also had, as I mentioned, Cinder from Killer Instinct, Chief Thunder from Killer Instinct, who was like a Native American guy who was pretty badass. And one of the games that I didn't pick anybody from, but Nick had kind of mentioned being able to play as the Turtles in one of those other games. There was the Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
There was a fighter
game as well.
I didn't realize that.
And Leonardo was always my guy when it came to the Ninja Turtles game. As much as I loved Michelangelo as a character,
I love Mikey.
Leonardo was the best fighter in my opinion overall. Ooh. And then the one guy
Raphael.
Wow.
The third guy.
Wow.
I'm a Leo guy.
Oh yeah, it's no problem.
Who are you?
Probably, Michelangelo was my favorite.
Mikey's the
but I love the badassery of Raphael.
Yeah, Mikey and Raph, 1, 2 for sure.
The final person that I had on my list, which was my third selection from Street Fighter, if it got to that, was Vega.
Yeah,
because I don't know, I didn't the claw was great, the mask was great, and just kind of the general vibe. Mm-hmm. Not realizing at that age, I didn't realize that he's just okay, they're trying to take an amalgamation of every character from every other thing. But I just always thought that he was badass. So
you know what I'm most surprised about this whole thing? I feel like only one character really got stolen for anybody, unless someone was planning on taking Raiden. I feel like you're the only one, Tim, that stole one that Wes won.
Yeah, that was it.
That worked out nicely.
And I wouldn't have thought out of all the guys that would be stolen from Street Fighter that it'd be E Honda.
Oh, he was my favorite.
Oh,
I loved him.
Oh, it was his favorite.
You really struck a nerve there.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
E Honda and Dalsim were like my 1-2. They were both.
Well, I'm happy that I was able to take one back. Well, it was already, take one from your list.
He was number 2 on my list. So
Tim, you're never going to be allowed in our drafts again.
That's it. You come in, you drop knowledge.
Now I just want to play
picks.
Street Fighter. Yeah. That's all I want to do.
Okay, so now run through your list for me, your 6 roster guys.
All right,
here.
so my 6 guys are E Honda, Venom, Oh Dirty Bastard,
of course,
or Old Dirty Chinese Restaurant, however you want to put it. Xavier Pendragon, Baraka, and my number 6 guy was Spinal.
Okay. I took Raiden first from Mortal Kombat, Gamora from Marvel Contest of Champions, Ryu from Street Fighter, Captain Falcon from Super Smash Brothers, Darth Vader from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith or Tekken, and I rounded things out with Red Hood from Injustice.
All right. 2. I went Green Lantern from Injustice, Star Fox from Super Smash Brothers, Blade from Marvel Contest of Champions, King 2 from Tekken 3, and how am I going to pronounce his name again? Dalsim. That's how I always say from
it.
Street Fighter.
It's fine. I don't know.
So I think that's all of them. And Stone Cold Steve Austin from SmackDown.
There you go.
That's it.
So I do think this one we should definitely put out a poll and maybe put out an image of our list of teams.
Yeah.
I really think you're going to get a lot of compliments about the King.
King 2, yeah. That's he was the most recognizable guy from Tekken, if you ask me.
If you showed the list in order, you got him, what was it, 4th overall or 5th overall, something like that?
Yeah, so I went...
That might be the steal of the draft.
3rd overall, so however that worked out, I don't know.
That may be
my 3rd pick.
Might be the steal of the draft. I mean, Vader kind of, but I think yours is...
Yeah, Darth Vader will get a lot of love. We'll see. We'll put it out there. See what the people got to say.
Do you have anything on your mind before we get going?
Yeah. So I know last week I was talking about how I was kind of trending downward on City on a Hill.
Oh, yes.
I watched the newest episode that came out on Sunday. I'm back on. What I was asking for last week was answered this week. Got a lot more action. Everything was kind of moving. The Michelle McPhee character now is being more realized, and I like her a little bit better now.
Okay.
Before she was just kind of playing on the sideline sort of thing.
And this is the Kevin Bacon show, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon, once again, very good in this. Great scene with him. I don't know if you're all caught up on it.
I have like 20 minutes left. I kind of dozed off last night.
But yeah, you get
the
you
scene.
get to
the
family.
scene where the girlfriend showed up.
Right.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's great stuff.
For my On My Mind, I'm actually going to go a little bit off the beaten path here, Wes. I came to the realization, I would say probably on Friday. I think it's in the preamble of the Constitution, right? Everybody has the right to pursue. Was it the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Sure, right.
I think they should make an amendment and have it technically be the fourth right or whatever.
What do we got here?
The right to hot water. Because in my building,
oh boy,
they turned off the hot water. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. They turned off the hot water, and it was supposed to be back by Saturday. And then, complications on Thursday or something like that. It's going to be not till Sunday. Then I get it again on Friday. It's not going to be till Monday. So I went like 4 days. Maybe it was actually might start on Wednesday. 4 or 5 days without any hot water.
That's the real reason why he's wearing the gym shirt.
Yeah,
oh
right.
my! No, well,
now, is this an issue because you don't like taking cold showers?
No,
or for like cooking or for
cold showers. No,
cleaning.
No, other than that, everything's fine. I can make do. Otherwise, like cleaning, everything else I can totally make do. It definitely makes dishes a little bit harder because I do hand wash it personally. But dude, for a friggin' shower, it's a joke.
Now, I could make the argument that if this were to happen at any point in time of the year, during the hottest stretch of the year, might be the right time for this to occur.
I will say that's fair.
At least it wasn't in the dead of winter.
Look, when it's on my head alone, my face, I'm totally about it. But then once you get it on my back, I can't take it.
There's another area too where it really doesn't work out so well.
I didn't want to go that detail
but
with him, you dirty old bastard.
I think Wes will get this reference. See, what you do is you fill up the tub and pretend you're a frogman.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Wes and I wanted to be frogmen when we were kids.
That's it.
Okay.
Frogmen, yeah.
Sure. Anything
you can go
else?
doubly into that, and it's also an It's Always Sunny reference about the frogman.
That's true too.
But so what? The last thing I'll say about that is what I enjoy doing at the end of my showers, particularly after a night of drinking, is seeing how much cold water I can handle for how long.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, right on the chest. Like it really takes your breath away. I could have it run down over your head, and I think that just wakes me up, makes me a little bit more alert.
I don't mind doing it at the end of a shower.
Yeah,
then
at the end.
Because I agree with you, waking up and alert. But you'll go for as long as you can just to test yourself.
Yeah, just to see how long. Yeah, yeah. It's a good little like Survivor-esque.
Yeah,
Naked and Afraid type test.
That is yes. I think
I can handle it. I pass.
He could be a frogman.
I could do it.
You could be a frogman. So in terms of next week, we're gonna go. The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's not coming out yet, right? Because I know you want to see that.
That's a good question. I do want to see that though.
26th.
26th.
Okay.
Of July or August.
This
July.
Thursday. This Friday. Yeah, we could do that.
Is it? But do we want to?
That'd be tough.
We usually try and wait for 2 weeks so everybody can see it.
Yeah, that's good because I got a bachelor party this week.
Oh, that's right.
My bachelor party.
So we'll try and figure out something. We'll figure out something.
Yeah.
So
TBD.
TBD.
I love those dates.